In March 2026, the FBI announced the arrest of a man named John Daghita on the Caribbean island of St. Martin. French special forces pulled him out, and when they did, they found a metal briefcase stuffed with hundreds of dollar bills, multiple USB drives, and hardware crypto wallets. The charge? Stealing over $46 million in cryptocurrency from the United States government. Not from a bank, not from a corporation, from the U.S. Marshals Service. The agencies whose entire job is to safeguard assets seized from criminals. So how exactly does someone pull that off? To understand this story, you first need to understand what the U.S. Marshals Service actually does with seized crypto. When federal law enforcement takes down a drug operation, a fraudster, or a hacker, they don't just seize cash and cars anymore. They seize digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, obscure altcoins, wallets full of funds tied to some of the biggest criminal cases in history. The USMS is responsible for holding, managing, and eventually disposing of all of it. By some estimates, they're sitting on over 198,000 Bitcoin alone. Tens of billions of dollars in digital assets managed by a federal agency that, according to a source familiar with the matter, who spoke to CoinDesk in early 2025, may not have even known precisely how much cryptocurrency it held. That last part matters, and we'll come back to it. In October 2024, a Virginia-based technology company called Command Services and Support, known as CMDSS, was awarded a government contract to help the U.S. Marshals Service manage and dispose of seized cryptocurrency. Not the easy stuff, specifically the complex category, what's officially classified as Class 2 or 4 digital assets, coins not supported by major exchanges, funds tied to high-profile criminal cases. That included crypto seized in the 2016 Bitfinex hack, one of the largest exchange breaches in history. This was sensitive work, high-value work, and CMDSS was now directly interfaced with government seizure wallets. The president and CEO of CMDSS was a man named John Daghita, and Dean had a son. His name was John. Online, he went by Lick. John Daghita was not a subtle person. He was active in crypto circles online, and he liked to flex. Photos of expensive watches, cars, private jets, the kind of curated display that in certain corners of the internet signals that you have money and you want people to know it. What it exactly signaled, it turned out, was something far more specific. But that part of the story wouldn't emerge until January 2026, when John found himself in an argument with another online figure named Drytan inside a private Telegram group chat. The argument was, in the vocabulary of that world, a ban for ban. A ritual where two people prove their wealth to each other in real time, live on screen. Drytan was mocking John, calling him out. And John, unwilling to let it go, decided to show his hand. He screen shared his Exodus wallet, right there on video, with other people in the chat watching. He displayed a Tron address holding $2.3 million. Then, as Drytan kept mocking him, John pulled up a second address on the Ethereum network and moved $6.7 million into it in real time. By the end of the argument, one wallet had consolidated roughly $23 million. John had proven his point. He had more. He always had more. What he didn't realize was that someone else was in the chat, watching and recording everything. That someone was Zach XBT. Zach XBT is a blockchain investigator, one of the most well-known on-chain sleuths in the cryptocurrency space. He does one thing exceptionally well. He follows the money. And the moment he saw those wallets, he started pulling threads. He ran the on-chain analysis, tracing the funds backwards through transaction histories, wallet hops, and exchange interactions. What he found was that at least $23 million sitting in John Daghita's wallets could be linked to a U.S. government control address, specifically a wallet that in March 2024 had received $24.9 million in funds from a government account holding assets seized in the Bitfinex case. The trail didn't stop there. Zach XBT also reported a separate wallet he attributed to Daghita holding 12,540 Ether, worth roughly $36 million. And when he looked back further, tracing activity from late 2024 through 2025, the total picture of suspected thefts climbed well past $90 million. Zach XBT also flagged something unusual back in October 2024. Around $20 million had been drained from government-linked wallets. Most of it came back within 24 hours, but about $700,000 routed through instant exchanges never returned. At this time, it looked like either a mistake or a test. In hindsight, it looked like a rehearsal. Zach XBT published everything on January 25, 2026. The wallet address, the transaction traces, the video of the Telegram argument, the connection between John Daghita and CMDSS, his father's company, also the contractor holding the government's crypto. He also reported the wallet address directly to the authorities. The post went everywhere. Within hours, John Daghita's Telegram username disappeared. His NFT display names were deleted. His profile name was changed. CMDSS website went offline. Their pages on X and LinkedIn were deactivated. It had the texture of a cleanup operation, of someone realizing in real time that the walls were closing in. Then, John Daghita opened a new Telegram channel and started trolling Zach XBT publicly. He posted, he taunted, he made it clear that he wasn't intimidated. And then, as what appeared to be a final act of defiance, he sent Zach XBT 0.6767 ETH directly from one of the wallets linked to the theft, the equivalent of a few $100s. Stolen government money sent as a taunt to the man who had just handed a federal case over to the FBI. Zach XBT announced he would forward the funds directly to a U.S. government seizure address. Then he waited. The investigators were already moving. The arrest came on March 4th, 2026. FBI Director Kash Patel posted the news on X the same day, confirming that French Special Forces, specifically the Gendarmerie's elite tactical unit operating out of Guadeloupe, had coordinated with the FBI's International Cooperation Team to move on St. Martin. They found Daghita there. They found the briefcase, the cash, the hardware wallets, the drives. Patel's message was direct. The FBI will work 24/7 with international partners to track down those who attempt to defraud American taxpayers, no matter where they try to hide. Zach XBT's response was shorter. Thanks for the last laugh, John. Now here's where the story becomes more than just a case about one reckless kid. The contract that CMDSS won in October 24 didn't come without red flags. A competing firm called Wave Digital Assets had filed a formal protest with the Government Accountability Office after losing the bid, arguing that CMDSS lacked proper regulatory registrations with the SEC and FINRA, and raising concerns about a potential conflict of interest involving a former USMS official who had joined CMDSS and brought non-public information with him. The GAO denied the protest. The contract stood, and then, according to investigators, almost immediately after the contract was activated, the first 20 million disappeared and came back, and 700,000 didn't. How John Daghita obtained access to the wallets has still not been officially confirmed. Whether credentials were shared, whether he exploited internal systems at CMDSS, whether his father knew anything at all, none of that has been established publicly. Dean Daghita has not been charged, and the investigation is still ongoing. But underneath all of it sits an uncomfortable truth. The U.S. Marshal Service, the agency tasked with guarding some of the most valuable seized digital assets on Earth, may not have known exactly what it held. A 2025 report described the agency as struggling to reconcile its own crypto holdings. A contractor was brought in specifically to help manage the problem, and the contractor's son apparently figured out that nobody was watching the wallets closely enough to catch him in real time. He was right about that. He was wrong about the Telegram chat. He was wrong about Zach XBT. And he was very, very wrong about St. Martin.